What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NBA podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, man?
Good to have you on. And this one's going to be another NBA rewatch. As you can see, we're looking at Lakers and Celtics highlights. This is the 1984 NBA Finals Game 1, Lakers Celtics. I've actually never watched this series. How about you, Dustin?
Yeah, this is my first time seeing the series. I'm looking forward to seeing the rivalry of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it, I mean, this is two star-studded teams. Like, it's Bird and Magic, but it's also James Worthy and Kareem. And then the Celtics have Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson. Lakers also have Byron Scott, so it's a loaded, absolutely loaded rosters.
Yeah, this is what you call must-see basketball.
Yeah, and the rivalry was so good. And so, we need to take time and watch these. And plus, a lot of people don't know the history of, the Lakers and Celtics. So, especially nowadays, it gets lost a little bit. How great these teams were and how dominant these players were. People don't really know the greatness of Larry Bird. They kind of know the greatness of Magic Johnson. They see the highlights of his passes and stuff. But,
Yeah,
Kareem is like right there with anybody for the greatest player of all time.
absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned history. Don't forget, these two played in the 1979 NCAA championship game.
Yeah, and I watched that one recently, Magic versus Bird, and that was a great national championship game. And you could see it, how great they were in college already. And there's a young Dick Stockton on the TV.
It's crazy seeing a young Brett Musburger.
Yep. Here's how they got here.
That
The Kansas City Kings, by the way, not the Sacramento Kings, the Kansas City Kings.
so that New York team must have been stacked. They gave
Yeah.
Boston.
Yep. And Ewing doesn't get drafted until 86.
Do you know anybody who was on that team?
No, I'd have to go back and look. I don't know the 1984 Knicks off the top of my head. But this is a long, grueling 7-game series. Two teams that hate each other. They have a long history going back to the Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Bill Russell, days too. John Havlicek.
Yeah, and then and then in this era, within the last decade and a half or so, you had the Kobe and Garnett with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
Yeah.
So it's been a long-standing rivalry.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this series. Watch it one game at a time and kind of go through it. Because people like to shit on past eras and say, it was a bunch of plumbers and, non-athletic, guys. And so it's good to go back and watch these actual games and see for yourself, and that's what we're going to do on this podcast with these rewatches is not only educate ourselves by going back and watching these games, but educate the people that watch. It's like, there was some great players. Kareem, that sky hook is the most unblockable, most indefensible shot of all time. There was nothing you could do with the Kareem sky hook but hope he missed it. Who the hell is blocking it? 7'3" centers putting up a sky hook,
Yeah. I mean, the only person who could block that is Jesus himself.
Yeah, I mean, nobody in NBA history. And you see There's a picture of Wilt trying to defend the sky hook and Wilt jumping like just as high, but Kareem still gets the shot up over him. That's pretty crazy. Here's the Lakers going through some practice drills at the hotel.
That's that's kind of cool how they did it at the hotel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, young Brent Musburger there. You see Pat Riley is the head coach of the Lakers too. A young Pat Riley.
There's legends all over in this game.
Yeah.
Who is the Boston coach? I need to be educated here.
I believe it's Casey Jones. And he was a player on the Celtics championship teams with Bill Russell. I'm gonna look that up right now. I believe it's Casey Jones. Yes, Casey Jones is the head coach, and the head coach of those Celtics championship teams, Red Auerbach, is the general manager of this Celtics team. And Red Auerbach, one of NBA legends, so many championships as a head coach and a GM with the Celtics.
About ready for tip off.
Yeah, we're gonna see the starting lineups here soon. It's cool to see the old school commercials and graphics.
Yeah, Honda. Wow.
The Boston Garden. Pat Riley versus KC Jones. There's Worthy against Bird. Worthy, a damn good player. So was Bird. Kurt Rambis versus, I believe that's Cedric Maxwell. Robert Parrish, another guy that gets slept on a lot. He was a damn good center. I don't know Henderson, but there's Magic Johnson. And Dennis Johnson against Michael Cooper. Dennis Johnson, one of the best defensive guards in NBA history.
Okay, so Alex, is this a younger Kareem or is it more in the middle or older?
This is middle, middle to older. 84. I think he's still. I mean, I think he retires like 1990, around there. But I mean, he wins a championship back in like 71 with the Bucks, or 72.
Boston won the tip off.
Yep.
I I really want people to check this out because Larry Bird, every time they bring up the GOATS conversation, he's never in it, and he's the most underrated great player of all time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that a lot of people today don't talk about is like they make it sound like, and they want to say Larry or LeBron James is the greatest small forward in NBA history by far, and that's just not true. If he's greater than Larry Bird, it's only by a little bit. And I am one of those, I catch hate for it, but I'm one of those that says Larry Bird is still greater. Um, I think most modern, fans today would say that Kevin Durant and LeBron are both greater than Larry Bird. I just don't think that's true. And the more history and research you do on Larry Bird, you see just how special he was. He was a big small forward. He was wide and strong and 6'9", tall, and his shot he released over the top of his head, so he was very hard to defend. One of the best shooting forwards in NBA history. Think about it like this: as great as Dirk Nowitzki is of a shooter, and he's the greatest 7-footer shooter of all time, Larry Bird's a greater shooter than he is.
Yeah,
you see how up and down, fast paced this is.
Yeah, Larry Bird in the whole finals averaged a double-double.
Yeah.
In this finals, which I thought was pretty great.
There's Kareem going to work. I mean, how do you stop that?
Sometimes you just can't.
And Robert Parrish was a really good defensive center. A lot of block shots. You know,
Man, the Garden looks so different.
yeah,
Nice pass. Should have caught that.
yeah. This is back in an era before instant replay and all that. And I'm one of those. I think that instant replay has almost made officiating worse. Like they depend much more on video replay. Back then, they depended on their eyesight. You know, everything was they're held accountable. They get their paychecks based on eyesight, and they got to get the calls right. And I think more often than not, they got the calls right just by being better with their eyesight and with their instincts. Nowadays, I think they've gotten worse with their eyesight and their instincts and depend a lot more on video replay, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that statement 100%.
So
So
Lakers out to a good start. Go
what's
ahead.
the what's the story behind Kareem and these glasses, or has that always been a thing?
That I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I think that's always been a thing with him. Maybe he got poked in the eye.
Man, you're right. They are moving down this court really fast.
Yeah, very high paced. Look at Magic. Down to Worthy, back to Magic. Look at that. Such great passing, like team basketball. Nowadays it's a lot more ISO basketball. Back then it was team pass first basketball, very unselfish. Magic by
Yeah,
far the leader in assists per game, like numbers per year and all that. Like he's just ridiculous at that.
he had a J too.
Yeah.
He's sitting here not missing on these mid-range jumpers.
Mhm. Here we go. Fast pace, Worthy. Magic, no look, back to Magic, layup.
And they're still not slowing down.
No, I think they're going to be going at this pace. I mean, this is game one. And I think they go at this pace all series. I mean,
Do you think Larry Bird is the greatest Celtic ever?
I think Bill Russell's the greatest Celtic ever, and Larry Bird's second. Just because, I mean, people want to hate on Bill Russell's competition, but if you do your research, Bill Russell had great competition as well. And it doesn't get any better. If you're going to say, who is your competition, and Wilt Chamberlain is part of your competition, I don't think it gets any more difficult than that. You got to
Yeah.
win championships and go through Wilt Chamberlain almost every year, and you still get 12 championships. Damn, James Worthy. The steal and the dunk.
What is he? A small forward?
Yeah. James Worthy, I mean, an all-time great. Great scorer, great athlete, solid defender.
Here goes
Kareem in
Kareem.
the post.
Just look how he pumps that ball. It's like,
Different.
my hand's like 4 times bigger than his ball. Try to grab it from me if you can. Pat Riley's had a very legendary career.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's an OG. He, he was the GM for the LeBron Heat, the Big Three Heat. He also won a championship. He drafted Dwayne Wade, got Shaq to Miami. Um, Pat Riley, got the Knicks closer than ever with Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Charles Oakley and those guys to the finals, to the conference finals. Pat Riley was the Jeff Van Gundy is a Pat Riley disciple. Van up under Pat Riley.
Kevin McHale was not a starter.
Yeah, he was a starting power forward.
Oh, okay.
And Kevin McHale, they say, and like I said on a previous episode, Kevin McHale is, I believe, the third greatest power forward all time. And they say, I mean, if you talk about footwork in the post, it goes Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kevin McHale. The best three right there. And I'm sure you know how great Akeem and Tim Duncan were.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Tim Duncan's game.
Yeah. And Kevin McHale, not only really great footwork, they said his wingspan was really long. So he was a really good defender. And they called him the man with 1,000 moves. So like down the low post, he had so many different moves. He didn't have like one or two go-tos. He was always doing something different to catch you off guard to score on you. And Charles Barkley said he was a nightmare to defend because he was unstoppable on the offensive end.
And that's just pure talent.
Yeah. And so the numbers aren't there. The numbers, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, their numbers aren't always massive, but it's because they were team first. They didn't care about numbers. Whoever was hot that night, they fed them the ball, and it was about winning much more than averaging a triple double.
One thing I noticed is the physicalness.
Yeah.
Much more physical.
And we're gonna watch a Celtics Pistons series. I believe it's 87, in which Bill Laimbeer pretty much takes out Larry Bird, or tries to take him out, tries to injure him. It looks pretty bad. And 2 games later, Robert Parrish punches Bill Laimbeer in the face twice. And like in today's NBA, you're suspended, right? He doesn't even get ejected. He doesn't even get a technical foul. It's play on.
This was before the rise of the Bulls, correct?
Yes. This is before Michael Jordan. He gets drafted in the 1984 draft, but 1985 is his first season. 1984-85. And then so it goes Olajuwon and Jordan are drafted, and then Ewing the next year, 85-86.
He was a beast at Georgetown.
What's that?
Ewing was a beast at Georgetown.
Yeah. Georgetown, what's his name? John Thompson was a great Georgetown coach.
Oh yeah,
and,
legend.
Great centers like Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning came out of there. John Thompson was a teammate of Bill Russell on the Celtics. And there's a really good story about how Alonzo Mourning and certain members of the Georgetown team were hanging out and getting friendly with a big-time drug dealer at the time. And John Thompson, like this dude was known, the drug dealer was known for like killing people. Like he was a gangster. And John Thompson like stood up to him and like pretty much got in his face and was like, "You leave my players alone. You don't come back here."
That's what's up. That
Yeah.
that almost puts you at legendary status already.
Oh yeah. And to go with national championships and all that, John Thompson, a legend.
Larry Bird
Two-time.
free throws.
Go ahead.
Larry Bird missed free throw. That has to be rare.
Yeah. He was one of those members of the 40, 50, 90 club. 40% from three, 50% from field goal, and 90% from free throw.
Oh damn, he was almost automatic at free throws.
Yeah. You see the Lakers, man, just running it.
Where would you rank Magic as a top point guard?
Number one all time.
You think he's the greatest point guard ever?
Oh, yeah. And I don't think that's close. You know, you're going to, rarely will you hear me say something like that, like number one, and it's not close. But
So
that's
like
where I have Magic Johnson.
you're just disregarding like Curry and Chris Paul and all them? Isaiah.
Curry is probably the greatest shooting point guard of all time, the greatest shooter of all time, like just with his range. And you see the 3-point numbers, the 3-pointers, you know, he broke the all time 3-point record so quickly. But greater than Magic Johnson? No.
Oh, bro, he even has a turnaround J.
Yeah.
Kareem, he's just unguardable, man.
There's Parrish. He usually hits that. Look at that. Boom.
Like one thing that you notice is, no offense to this era of basketball, but they fight for extra possessions and
Yes.
they're not
The
out
effort.
here.
Yeah. Yep. The boxing out. The effort had to be mandatory. If the effort wasn't there, the coach was benching your ass. That's what's different in today. The coaching is a lot different from back in the day to the way it is today. You see that sky hook?
Yeah, that's
And that was automatic. He never missed that, man. Who was it? I'm trying to think of who it was that said it. Pat Riley, I believe. Pat Riley said, if I needed a game-winning shot to win a series, I'm picking Michael Jordan. If I needed a game-winning shot and my life depended on it, I'm picking Larry Bird.
really.
Yeah. Larry Bird was super clutch. There's Kevin McHale with the offensive rebound and putback.
So like, would you put Bird over KD right now?
All time, yes. Larry Bird in today's game. So, like, you look at how great of a scorer and shooter Kevin Durant is. You know, he's like damn near 7-footer with unlimited range. Larry Bird had just as much unlimited range. He was a better rebounder, better passer.
Man, Kevin McHale's putting in work down low.
Yep. Excellent rebounder. Box out. Great pass there by Kareem to a cutting. I believe that was Kurt Rambis. Who would you have been rooting for in this series? What team do you like better, like as far as style of play or players?
You know what? I can tell right now that I would have been a fan of Larry Bird, but I like the way Kareem plays, man. Like he
Yeah,
just brings it, you know?
yeah. Ricky G, who we've had on the podcast, Kareem is his favorite player all time.
And
Wow.
if there's anybody who knows when it comes to all-time greats, it's definitely Ricky G.
So he's been watching the NBA closely since 1968.
Wow.
He's like, being old is a blessing. but he's also watches every game currently. He's a big
Even
Warriors fan, and Steph
even
Curry is his favorite player right now. But even he says Magic Johnson's the greatest point guard ever.
even the side skyhook is unstoppable.
Yeah. You see the aggressiveness with which they're playing. It's all out.
I'm trying to keep up with my eyes here. They're just moving 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Need a high definition HD television, 1080p, to like catch everything, you know?
Yeah. And like it's not like they're not when they do foul, it's not complaining. It's like taking ownership of it, you know?
Yeah, nowadays you see a lot more complaining and a lot more arguing about calls, and they want to review everything. And back then it was like a lot less complaining and arguing about the calls. There's an offensive foul. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Kareem is a lot of fun to watch. He's so dominant. And then you throw Magic Johnson on top of that, along with James Worthy and those guys. The Lakers were showtime. They were so much fun to watch. Boston was more grit and toughness, and I think a lot more people were Lakers fans back then. And Boston, you know,
Well, I mean, nowadays I can't root for Boston because I'm a Bulls fan. So,
yeah, the Bulls sucked back then. Jordan, really made them a team. They were awful before he got there. 5 seconds left. Magic with
oh,
the handles.
so you're saying Jordan turned them around, not Pippen, like everybody else says.
No, if anyone says Pippen turned the Bulls around, they need to watch more basketball.
I was just being sarcastic,
I mean, you can tell perfectly by 94. A lot of people look at 1994 and they see the Bulls took the Knicks to 7 games and damn near went to the Eastern Conference Finals. If you actually watch that 94 series like I did, you'll see that Pippen was solid. He was a talent. He could defend. He was versatile. But when it came down to the fourth quarter, the Knicks clamped down that Bulls team worse than almost any team in NBA history. The Knicks held the Bulls under like 20, under like 15 points in the fourth quarter every game of that series. The Knicks just clamped them down, and that's why they won that series, because when it came down to the fourth quarter, the money quarter, and the clutch baskets when he needed it most, Pippen's field goal percentage dipped down to like 20%.
Wow, damn.
You needed a closer. And that's very similar, in my opinion, to Paul George today. I hate to hate on Paul George. He's great, the great athlete, good defender. But when it comes down to carrying a team in the fourth quarter, Paul George is a number 2 option. You need a closer like Kawhi, in my opinion.
I mean, some say the same thing about DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, I mean, I'm 100% on that. DeMar DeRozan could be a solid number 2 option come playoff time, and we're going to see it this year with the Bulls. Come playoff time, I don't trust that Bulls team.
So,
And you can already tell in the regular season by their record against the top teams in the conference.
so Alex, tell me, how good was Larry Bird's defense?
It wasn't great, but it was, you had to be at least decent. You had to give effort. And, we see that a little bit today where players don't even give effort. And Larry Bird gave effort. He tried. He had some game-winning steals that he's known for. He wasn't the lockdown defender you know, like other guys like McHale or Jordan or Pippen or, Akeem Olajuwon, but he gave effort.
I'm asking you questions because I'm trying to get educated, and this era of basketball very well.
I'm learning too. Like I said, this is my first time watching. I know the guys, but I haven't watched, like this series. And we're gonna, watch these and learn. But that's the
So,
thing. It doesn't matter. I pride myself on knowing a lot about the game and trying to know as much as I can, but you never know enough. That's why you go watch these games. And nobody, a lot of people that I interact with talking NBA and NBA history, they don't watch the games like this. And you have to. If you don't sit down and watch the games like this, then frankly, I don't want to talk NBA with you.
so
So that's why
if
we're doing it.
if you were to put a team right now from this era, any team against any team from the '80s era, would they be able to keep up speed wise?
Speed wise, yes. Physicality, no. Um, and like fundamentally, no. They would have a lot of turnovers. The teams of today would have a lot of turnovers, and I would take the '80s. I mean, any team of today against this Lakers team, hell no. This Lakers team routes any team in the NBA today. Yes, even the Giannis Bucks. Imagine Giannis attacking the rim and Kareem standing
I
there.
think
Giannis
Giannis
is gonna
counts on.
Giannis is gonna get his, but the Lakers are gonna win the series probably in 5 games. I'm being generous and giving the Bucks a game.
Okay, so but like, why do people just not in this era of basketball? They don't acknowledge how talented these guys were like back in the day because it's like, oh, LeBron faced tougher competition. When
That's national media narratives. A lot of people nowadays they don't take the time to watch these games. They just watch ESPN talk shows or FS1 talk shows. They listen to Skip versus Shannon Sharp. They listen to Nick Wright. They listen to Stephen A. Smith, and they don't put in the work and watch the games. And so national media is doing a big disservice to the game too by not talking about its rich, great history. They'd rather prop up today's players as the greatest ever and discredit the past. And what they do that on purpose because it's good for ratings. And everyone that is growing up watching the game today, they want it to be the greatest ever. What you're watching in front of you live, you want it naturally, you want that to be the greatest ever. But if you do your history, you can see that there's all-time greats, for a long time in the history.
look at the way that they shoot the jumpers.
It's different for sure. There's Parrish at the line. That's it.
Magic Johnson was also different when it came to size for a point guard because wasn't he like 6'7"?
He's, I think, 6'9".
Oh wow, that's big for a point guard.
Yeah. And Magic actually started his rookie year. He started an NBA Finals game at center and won the game because Kareem was hurt or sick or something.
That right there just shows you what talent is, man.
Yeah, the versatility. Like the closest thing we have to Magic Johnson today was getting compared to was Ben Simmons. And you look at the way Ben Simmons' career has flamed out and how he couldn't even hit a jumper. And
Well, I mean,
Magic is so much better.
LeBron reminds me a lot of Magic too, though.
Yeah, I would say, but this is where LeBron fans get mad at me. is that I would say, what's LeBron the best at? Like, is LeBron the best passer of all time? I'm taking Magic Johnson. Is LeBron the best shooter of all time? I'm taking Steph Curry. Is he the best scorer of all time? I'm taking Michael Jordan, like, or Wilt Chamberlain. Like, so I really don't know. Is he the best defender of all time? I'm taking Dennis Rodman.
Okay, so
yeah.
You say that all those guys are the best in those categories. Well, then what is it that makes Jordan the greatest ever?
Clutch factor, athleticism, um, ability to score, ability to take over in the biggest moments when, the fourth quarter, the final minutes, the biggest stage, the NBA finals, Eastern Conference finals, when you need it the most. Jordan almost always came through. No one is perfect. Everyone has times where they don't. You can point to 1995 when Jordan was fresh out of baseball, came out of retirement, and choked. Not really choked, but like gave up a clutch turnover against the Magic and lost that series. But I think the ultimate thing that separates Jordan and Kobe, especially over a lot of people in NBA history, is the killer mindset, the mental. Mentally, they would work harder and just refuse to lose more than anybody in NBA history. Um, and they were not going to pass the ball in the clutch. Like, very rarely, do you see them pass the ball. Jordan said it himself. He's like, there's nothing really in the game that I get more enjoyment out of than taking the game-winning shot.
Is he would you consider him the greatest game-winning shooter of all time?
I would, but I mean, that's, there's Jordan, there's Kobe, there's Larry Bird. There's certain guys that you want the ball in their hands, with the game on the line.
So then tell me, why does LeBron pass wide open jumpers or layups?
He likes to pass. He's very gifted at passing, so he relies on that a lot. But one of his things that has really held LeBron's career back, he hates going to the free throw line in the clutch. He can't stand it, and he's never been a great free throw shooter his entire career. That's one of the biggest weaknesses of his game, is the free throw line, especially late in games. And so because of that, I think he's more likely to pass the ball out. Now, to his credit, he's taken and made some clutch shots. But I think when the pressure is at its highest is when LeBron doesn't want to take that shot the most. When it's the NBA Finals, win or go home, and certain times like that, he'd rather not be in a spot where either he has to go to the free throw line, or if he misses, they lose. And there's video, I've got video evidence of that. In the NBA Finals, I believe he's 0 for 6 on game-winning shot attempts in the final 10 seconds or 25 seconds, something like that.
Wow. We do have to give him credit, though. He is playing pretty well for being 37 years old.
Yeah. Part of the thing is, too, is that the game has changed so much. Like, all the rules are offensive bias. They changed the rules to promote more scoring, more records broken, less defense, more more shooting. It's so hard to play defense now in today's NBA, but you're getting to a point where it's so hard that they don't even try. But let's get back to this game. What's the score right now? Game 1 NBA Finals in Boston. Birds only got 3 points so far. Look at that average.
Yeah, they're holding him pretty well.
Yeah, 27.6.
Really, the one who's playing their best in this game is Magic Johnson, man. He's going off.
Yeah. Yeah, 50-34. Lakers taking it to him on the road. Look at that pass. Oh, you got to finish that. Who's that? Cooper or Byron Scott? I think that's Henderson, 43. Dennis Johnson going to the line. RIP Dennis Johnson. He was the best player on the Seattle Sonics' one and only championship in 1979, him and Jack Sikma.
Yeah. Do you think the longevity of these guys playing was different back then than it is now?
Yeah, I think modern medicine helps. You know, they're playing like less games now, I think, in the regular season at least. They're playing a lot less back-to-backs. They're taking games off. You know, LeBron's not playing tonight. He takes a decent amount of games off. That helps. Taking time off, letting your body rest. Um, Modern medicine, like being able to do the cryotherapy and the better eating habits, um, better, rehab and getting, more recently they've made getting sleep is a lot more important to your body as well. Getting the proper rest. A lot of that stuff goes into being able to play longer and play at a higher level deeper into your career.
Dang,
Kareem
Kareem
with
points already.
Yeah, 18-4 already. Make that 19.
Well, that's exactly why he's the leading scorer in NBA history right now
Yep.
with the most points. Beautiful pass.
Yep. Good jumper by Dennis Johnson. Celtics need to get back into this game. Lakers good lead early. Lakers aren't slowing down for nothing. They're trying to put up 130 on them. Nice take by Cooper. Can't get it to go. Cooper gets his own rebound. Oh, good steal. The foul. But see, I mean, you had to be a great defender like Dennis Johnson to go up against Magic Johnson like that.
Yeah, but that call looked kind of like they gave that one to Magic.
Yeah. He might have gotten him. It's hard to tell with this TV quality.
Were they getting paid millions in this era or no?
Yeah, I think so. At the very, just starting to.
Good way to draw a foul.
I think I saw somewhere where like the Vikings got wide receiver Chris Carter from the Eagles for $100.
Huh.
Dang, Chris Carter, I mean, Hall of Fame career.
Man, Bird's most of his points are coming from the free throw line.
Yeah. But I mean, the biggest thing too, that's why you got to watch full games, because there's people on social media with agendas. That you'll have someone that takes a little like 3-play clip from the 80s and says, "Look how soft it is. Look how terrible a basketball it is. That era was no good." And you know, if you watch the entire thing, the entire game, you realize that person's got an agenda. They're just clearly cherry picking 3 bad plays that you can find in any era of basketball, and they're trying to trash it.
Yeah,
It's all about doing your research, studying the game. Don't let other people's, whether you agree with me and you or not, don't let me and you teach you the game and tell you what the game is. Right here, and judge for yourself. You're entitled to your own opinion, but use your eyes, watch the game. Don't let anybody tell you what happened and what didn't. Watch the game and study and learn. That's the best way to be able to talk basketball at a high level. Otherwise, you're going to lose certain arguments if you don't truly know the game, you know?
absolutely. You could not have said that any better.
Yeah, like, I was content with my knowledge until I started podcasting, until I started getting on Twitter. And then you realize that there's people, no matter how much you know, there's always people that are going to know more than you. And if you're going to talk the game, you better step your game up, You better step your knowledge up. And now I'm to the point where I talk sports with, one of my followers covered these Lakers for a living, wrote in the paper and covered these Lakers. And I talk basketball with him, go back and forth, debate with him. And that's what I've wanted to do my entire life, is to get to that level. And even now, he schools me all the time because he lived it. He covered it. He knows it like the back of his hand. And I'm learning from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've always said, and plus you've always told me, like, the people who have played the game, always listen to them because they've been there.
Yes. Like, if anyone can tell you who's the GOAT and who isn't, it's the guys that were on the same court defending and playing with that guy. They'll know more than any writer, any fan, anybody. It's the guys on that court and the coaches that coached them.
And, that's why I respect Ricky G, is because the knowledge that man has about one particular sport is just amazing.
Yeah.
Man, Kevin McHale boards, dude. He's a beast.
Yep. He's doing work. They say, like you asked Charles Barkley about Kevin McHale. He says Larry Bird was their best scorer. Kevin McHale may have been their best player. And, Larry Bird is all-time great. And no one talks about Kevin McHale. Look at that.
Man. Why?
On the same court as Magic, Kareem, and Bird, we're talking about Kevin McHale right now.
Celtics are on a little comeback here.
Yep. Good D. See, that would have easily been a foul in today's NBA. They're letting them play a little bit. There's a block. Hard foul, too. That might have been a flagrant today's game.
They're a lot tougher, too. They're getting back up.
That's the thing, is back then, as far like this was my mindset growing up, and I don't know, back then it definitely was, and I was taught this growing up. I'm like my dad and my brothers that are older than me, is that you're a lot tougher than you think you are. Like, test the boundaries. Live your life. Allow yourself to get hit. Allow yourself to test the boundaries of what you can handle, because chances are you can handle it. And we're in an era right now where it's like we need to be so soft and so careful and so protective of ourselves and not allow us to have anything bad happen to us. It's like, man, like live life. Don't be scared. Like take the hits and keep on going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was
What
the
is,
mindset back then. Like nowadays we gotta drink, bottled water, Fiji water, and you can't have anything. We used to drink water out of the hose and play in the dirt. And like I don't know, it's a different mindset today.
what what is it that kept Kevin McHale back from them, like understanding his greatness?
People just don't watch his game. I mean, there's not a ton of Kevin McHale. No one talks about Kevin McHale. I don't know why. I mean, I think that there's a mindset that um, most white players aren't that skilled, you know, and so that's why Larry Bird gets dogged. That's why Kevin McHale does. Mark Price, John Stockton, Jeff Hornacek, guys like that. But you watch because they compare him to a lot of the white guys today, and a lot of the white guys today can't ball like that. Yet now you're starting to see guys like Luka, and we saw it with Dirk and with Joker, Jokic. I'm telling you, if Luka and Jokic can dominate the game the way they do today, Bird and Arvydas Sabonis and those guys, Tony Kukoc, Detlef Schrempf would dominate today's game too. Drazen Petrovic, no one talks about that. Have you even heard the name Drazen Petrovic?
I've heard of it before.
Yeah, but no one talks about him. And he's one of the greatest shooting guards of all time in his time. And he unfortunately got killed in a car accident mid-career.
Damn, rest in peace.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories like that. So
I just
but yeah, they look at McHale and they see him, as just like kind of a scrawny white guy, and they think that he couldn't play, but it couldn't be farthest from the truth. As we haven't even watched a half of the game yet. We're like, damn, Kevin McHale's balling.
yeah, there's the effort he's given is crazy.
Yeah, 60-50. Good job by Boston getting back in this before halftime. They're at home, so no excuses. Those Boston fans are gonna let you hear it. It's a nice move right there. Kareem's got so much length and he's so tall. He is so difficult to score on. He is a great shot blocker. As skilled as Akeem was, Kareem gave him fits. Look at
That
that
shot.
shot.
Look, I want to check out like Kareem and Wilt going at it.
Yeah, we can definitely do that too.
I bet that had to be something to see.
Yeah. But like as far as the greatest shooters of all time, like Steph Curry, and people say there's no one in the history of the game like that. The two closest that I can think of, and that people should do their research on, is Jerry West and Pistol Pete Maravich. Those two were great shooters, and they both played in an era before the 3-point line. So if they played in an era with the three ball, imagine what their stats and their averages would have been.
Yeah,
I watched a video recently of Pistol Pete scoring 68 in a game without a 3-point line.
jeez.
All jumpers. It was just cash, cash, cash.
So back then, everything was two.
Yep.
See,
And Pistol Pete, I believe, still holds the all-time record for points in a season or points in a career in college basketball, and he did it without the 3-point line.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you're right. They were talking about that during the March Madness tournament.
Yep. And Kareem was so dominant in college that they banned the dunk. They said because Kareem made it look so easy and was dunking on everybody. They said that the dunk was not a skilled shot, so they banned it because Kareem was dominating so much.
See, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's wild. It's one of those you're like, what? Nice shot there, going into half. Who was that? Was that Cooper?
What year did they finally decide to bring it back?
I don't know. I think it was like a two when Kareem was doing it. I'd have to look that up. It was 1967.
I need to watch some of his UCLA stuff.
Yeah.
Them UCLA teams back in the day, man, they were great.
Yeah. John Wooden.
Oh, so Bird was also the MVP that year.
In 84.
Yeah.
Yep. I believe #1 overall seed, Celtics.
Do you think coaching was different back then also?
Absolutely. Coaches played a much bigger role back then. A lot more adjustments, a lot more hands on the game. Nowadays, you like the coaches will call plays once in a while and stuff like that, scheme or whatever, defensive schemes, but more so, a lot of these star players just do what they want out there. They ISO and then it turns into schoolyard basketball. Back then, it was a lot more coached, and a lot more was demanded of players. You had to defend, you had to box out, you had to pass the ball, to open teammates. You had to get good shots. If you took a bad three or a contested shot, they would bench your ass in a hurry. I just watched a game last night when Tom Chambers took a three and got immediately pulled out of the game by Jerry Sloan on the Jazz. Nowadays, man, do you ever see someone take a shot, miss it, and the coach immediately pulls them out of the game?
Nope.
It's like these players make too much money or whatever. They have too much power, and it's been taken away from the coaches, or coaches are afraid to do that anymore. And it's made the game worse, in my opinion. It's less fundamental. The refs don't call the right, they don't call traveling hardly anymore. They don't call flopping, which they said they were going to do, but they don't, really enforce that. They don't call illegal screens. Who was it? Rick Barry was just Ben talks about how he sees like 50 plus illegal screens a game and they don't call nothing.
I mean, it's a different era.
Yeah, and he's like, it's up to the officiating in the league to enforce it. He's like, the players will adjust. You set the standard, the league and the officiating. You set the standard, and the players will learn and adjust. Instead, they're afraid to call out these superstar players. And it's all for the enjoyment of the fans. but it's hurting the game in the process. And my question is this, Dustin, I want to ask you because you watch, you're in tune with the modern NBA and you watch a lot of games. Why is it that everyone says evolution and it's a bigger, faster, stronger league? These players are so much better and more athletic and more dominant today than in past eras. Why is it that the dunk contest then was so terrible this year?
Because there's no creativity in it no more.
Well, why? I mean, you go back to past dunk contests when it was Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. Remember Vince Carter, even Blake Griffin. And recently it's just gotten worse and worse. It's like, if that's true, if evolution is true, and these players are doing shit that we've never seen before, then why aren't we seeing it in the dunk contest? People should be doing 540s and double between the legs and these crazy shit that we couldn't even comprehend. And nowadays we don't see it anymore.
I mean, I can't really answer that.
Yeah, I'm not asking for to know for sure. I'm just saying it's a legitimate question,
Yeah, I understand. But it's also like, why are the top guys afraid to compete in it?
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's one of my biggest knocks on LeBron is that he never competed in a dunk contest. LeBron's like one of our most explosive, nasty dunkers in NBA history. Why doesn't he compete in a dunk contest?
And see, okay, I know, Stephen A. Smith says what he says, but you just said the exact same thing he said. He said that, they were showing clips of LeBron's dunk he did, I think it was the other day or last week when they played
Yeah.
X. And he said, well, everybody wants to talk about the GOAT thing and LeBron and Jordan. He said, well, tell me then, why LeBron? Why did you not enter a damn dunk contest then?
Yeah, it's a fair question. And it's not like it was just for no reason. He was offered $1 million by Magic Johnson to do the dunk contest and still said no. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look it up. Google it. Magic Johnson offers LeBron James $1 million and it'll come right up.
Why is he so scared?
I think him and his circle, Clutch and the people around him, see it as no benefit. Either he dominates and people say, oh, well, we expected that, or he struggles and people make fun of him. And
I don't see him struggling, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think anyone saw him losing 6 finals either, but here we are. That's the hater in me coming out.
But you have to remember, he played way better competition than most everybody else.
Disagree.
No,
yeah, I know.
Out too.
I don't think anyone had this current Lakers team missing the playoffs, but that's where we might be headed to.
So if LeBron's teams like LeBron and the Heat and LeBron and the Cavs played, let's say, this Magic Johnson Lakers team, is he beating them?
No way. Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem, Byron Scott. No. That team in 5 or 6.
So then people can't say that he faced tougher competition then.
Exactly. What about Larry Bird, who had to go through the Showtime Lakers and the Olajuwon Rockets?
It's so crazy and it's so hard to compare eras.
It is. That's difficult. And the people that say it's pointless to compare eras, they have a point. It is. It's almost impossible to compare eras. But When you're
But you
talking about skill set and greatness, you can see it.
that and you can obviously see how the game changes over time.
Yeah.
Would you say it's more the NBA's fault of how soft it is, or the players in this
The
era?
NBA, absolutely. The players only do what they can get away with. It's a league issue.
Oh,
They've allowed more to allowed players to get away with more. They've allowed coaches to be less instrumental. They've allowed super teams to be a thing. More so now than ever. Um, it's absolutely a league issue.
who started the super team?
It's debatable, but I mean the Heat was unlike anything we had seen in NBA history, and the Warriors was pretty bad too when KD joined them. But you can also say KD was the only one that joined that. That Warriors team was built through the draft.
See, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that team was pretty much built before KD got there.
Yeah, and so KD put them over the top. And you can say you hate that move, and I understand. I didn't like it when it happened either. But if you look back at the way the 2016 season ended, the Warriors got Kevin Durant for a reason, is they needed that closer. And in my opinion, Kevin Durant is the best in the league right now at hitting those big shots in the biggest moments, those big clutch shots. I continue to say he was a toe on the line away from sending Giannis and the Bucks home last year with a clutch 3. It ended up being a clutch 2 with his foot on the line. If he hits that 3, the Bucks are eliminated at home in Game 7, and I think the Nets go to the finals. But his foot was on the line, so we can't rewrite history. But Durant in 2016 Game 7, nobody, not LeBron, not Steph Curry, not Klay Thompson, nobody could hit a big shot at the end of Game 7. Everyone was worn out and tired and at their limit. Who's the guy who came through with the biggest shot?
Kevin Durant.
No, in 2016 Game 7, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Hit that 3. And so then Golden State saw an opportunity to get the biggest and baddest closer in the game in Kevin Durant. And then how do you defend that Warriors team? You've got the big 3 of Curry, Klay, and Draymond, and you add Kevin Durant. I mean, that's why that team was so fun to watch, because there was no defending that team. Now, you could do a better job than what Cleveland did, but Durant was just a monster. And then you talk about Iguodala off the bench and how loaded that team was.
Iguodala, from watching the games myself, he's the only man that I've ever seen slow LeBron down.
I would say Klay did the best I've ever seen.
Klay Thompson?
Leonard.
Oh, okay. Kawhi
Leonard. Iguodala did great. That's why he won Finals MVP, for his defense on LeBron. Kawhi Leonard is the best I've ever seen at defending LeBron. And people are not going to like to hear this, but I got clips and video of Boris Diaw defending LeBron at a high level.
When he was on the Spurs?
Yeah. It wasn't just Kawhi. Boris Diaw was putting the clamps on LeBron pretty well.
Oh,
Huh?
They're going to come after you for that one, Alex.
Yeah, but I'm used to it. LeBron fans, what's new? LeBron fans come after me for everything I say. You're just a hater. You hate on that man, unlike anybody else in NBA history. Splash. Good shot.
Man, McHale even hitting jumpers.
Yep. I think that was Scott Wedman, actually.
I'm sorry, man. It's hard to see.
Well, they're both white and got the same haircut, so it's understandable. Here's Bird. Bringing the double. Fade away. Good D.
Bird's kind of struggling in this game.
Yeah, there's Magic. Magic is so quick. You see that?
Yeah,
There's a steal by Magic.
he just got the assist, ran down the court, got a steal.
Yep. Magic is not only the greatest passer in NBA history, but he was so great at setting the pace. He was a true point guard. Great take. I believe that was James Worthy there with the finger roll layup.
So I'm trying to figure out why isn't Magic going face up? Why is he doing more of like a post position type of bringing
That
it
was
down?
his. That was his style. He always did that. It was like here he's doing face up, but watch. All that. I mean, he goes face up until the defense comes, and then he goes into that. That's his way of protecting the ball. See, Lakers have 81 right now. It's a third quarter. It's high scoring. And you don't see me complaining about no defense. You know what I mean? Because it's a different style of basketball. I don't think the Celtics are not playing defense. The Lakers are just running them out the gym a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
There's ways in which putting up 130 is acceptable. And there's ways of scoring 130 where you're just like, man, that's disgusting. They didn't play an ounce of defense, you know? And when you know it when you see it.
Who was favored to win this finals?
I mean, I gotta think the Celtics, but I don't know. I'd have to do my research on that. I mean, they got home court. You know, they got game 1, and they're obviously going to have game 7 at home. So, home court usually plays a major role.
Ooh, these jumpers back in the day were funny.
Yeah, but they're splashing too, you know?
I know.
Good D. Good. Look at Bird with the steal. Great pass. There's Kevin McHale.
How many points does that guy have?
I don't know. He's racking them up. What do you think about this style of basketball so far?
I like it.
Is it bad basketball? Do these look like unathletic players?
They don't look unathletic. It just looks like they're not trying to make every play be a dunk.
Yeah. They're content with jumpers and passing and getting the best look.
I mean, I'm sure if Magic wanted to throw down something crazy, he would. Or if Kareem really wanted to just slam into somebody's face, he would.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what made Jordan. I mean, so like even in this era, you had Dominique Wilkins and Dr. J, who could do that. It was a little more rare. That's why Jordan's freak athleticism was so crazy. They had never seen anything like it. And so you do see a little bit more of that freak athleticism in today's game. But what you see a lack of is fundamentals and boxing out and playing defense. Very few players are great on both ends of the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said it best earlier. They have better access to weight rooms and workout equipment and better way of going out and getting stronger and more athletic, basically.
But I don't think that makes for better players. I don't think just because it's a more athletic era doesn't necessarily mean it's a better era. You know?
Do you see anybody in the NBA right now with more athleticism than Michael Jordan?
I mean, on Jordan's level, no. Close, yes. Like DeMar DeRozan, John Morant, Anthony Edwards is pretty damn athletic. Um, there's guys that are up there. But let me
Yeah, but
ask you this. Do you think anyone in today's current game is Vince Carter athletic?
no.
Exactly. And Vince Carter and Jordan are as close as it gets. And Kobe, young Kobe, even mid prime Kobe, was very athletic. And I don't think you see as much as that. And what about fucking like prime T Mac? You remember T Mac?
Oh yeah, Tracy McGrady was athletic as hell.
Yeah. Like, let's not act like all of a sudden these guys are prime athletes. T Mac was ridiculous. Penny Hardaway in prime before injury. Grant Hill before injury. That's something we should watch. Is like some Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, just to
But
see how great those guys were pre-injury.
you said you said it best again earlier. Is they're not they didn't a lot of the people saying that never paid a close attention to those guys.
Yeah, the more you know, the more you have a better understanding of like, yeah, it's great, but let's not forget about these guys. And that's why I'm never going to be settled on thinking that I know it all because I always want to know more.
But
And
see, it's not always about being able to dunk the basketball that makes you a great athlete.
yeah, or a great player, exactly. One of the things they said about Larry Bird, what made him so great, is that he would use your athleticism against you.
And
Like, he would find ways to pump fake you and send you flying, or use your extreme athleticism and lean into your body and get the contact. Like Larry Bird was Q players in NBA history.
to me, if I was playing basketball, I would rather know the fundamentals than learning how to dunk.
Yeah, because you can being able to dunk is athletic ability. Knowing how to master the fundamentals of the game, you can do a lot just by knowing that. That was one thing that I was always like just purely a 3-point shooter. You know, a white boy with no ups, no jumping ability, but I could shoot the three, and I was somewhat quick, and I was all effort, like all defense, diving on the floor. Made me pretty good just on effort alone. Shoot. And when my game really took the next step forward is when I learned how to play in the post. And I developed an up and under and a shot fake, and footwork in the post. It's amazing how much that could do for your game and how many people don't know how to defend it.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
And that, you think of footwork and up and under in the post, that's like simple basics, but a lot of people don't know how to do it.
If you notice,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Huh?
you can finish.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
Oh, if you notice on a lot of these Boston and Lakers possessions, they're making sure each player touches the ball first.
Yeah, that's coaching. That was probably almost like in practice. That was guaranteed. That was like mandatory. Let's touch the ball before we shoot. And what it does is it instills. That's not a requirement in the game itself. It's just a practice thing to get everyone that chemistry of passing to the guy, so that when you're in the moments of the game, you've got that chemistry built in where it's a habit to pass to the open guy, and a freely moving ball passing all around is a recipe for a very tough to defend offense. because
One
that
thing,
requires the defense to have all five guys working together, much more than iso ball, which two or three defenders can focus on the ball, you know?
one thing I can say for sure is that the bigger men these days, their game is a lot better than what it was back then with being able to stretch the floor and stuff.
I disagree though, to a point. Like, the bigger men today can shoot better, right? They can shoot the three ball, and they can maybe handle the ball a little bit better. But I don't think the big men of today have the footwork, the low post, the boxing out, any of that. We were just talking about those fundamentals. I don't think the bigs of today have that. They have, and so it's easy to see Karl Anthony Towns shooting the three and Jokic shooting the three and passing and be like, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen. Yet they don't box out. They don't have footwork in the post. They get pushed around. They don't, and I mean, I just think it's different. And to me, if you're going to ask me, if I've got a 7-footer on my team, do I want that guy shooting threes or do I want his ass in the paint?
In the paint all day long, grabbing boards.
Absolutely. That's what 7-footers are for. If I'm playing with a dude that's big and he's shooting threes, I'm like, come on, bro, get your ass in the paint, get the rebounds, and score 2 feet away from the basket. Especially if you're missing the three. If you're hitting the three all day, then you can't really say nothing. But, eventually, I don't care who you are, you're going to miss some threes. No 7-footer is Stephen Curry.
I mean, yeah. Did you like how the three ball has changed these days, or would you rather prefer it be older school threes?
No, I like playing in the paint. I like going to the free throw line. I like the three ball. I was early on the 3-point game. I was taking a lot of threes you know, in playing basketball and believed in that. And now it's gone way too far the other direction. And now it's almost teams are giving up free open layups to shoot the three. They're passing instead of taking a layup. And that's bullshit. That's not good basketball. You want points. It's the same thing, same idea as kicking a field goal or going for it on fourth down. Yeah, sure, a touchdown would be nice. Yeah, sure, a three would be nice, but I want points. So give me the layup. Give me the chip shot field goal.
Oh, Boston's coming back.
Yeah. I think I would have been a Celtics fan in this series, but the Lakers are a lot of fun to watch, and Magic is so good. But I could see me being a big McHale fan back then. And
Yeah,
Robert,
he's put effort.
yeah, and Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson. Like, the Celtics are the more defensive team and scrappy, and the Lakers are just amazing talent. At that time, I mean, you put Magic Johnson into any era and he's just ridiculous. And then you throw Kareem on top of that. I mean, Magic and Kareem, tell me a better 1-2 duo than Magic and Kareem in NBA history. I don't know if you can.
Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, that's the closest thing that comes to mind. And this might piss some people off. I'm taking Magic and Kareem. And I love Shaq and Kobe, but Bird getting doubled, passes out of it. A lot of people say double teams didn't exist back then. I don't know what they're talking about. Bird with a clutch three to end the third quarter. That's another thing. You get it on Twitter. You get people saying, well, you couldn't double team people back then. What the hell are you guys talking about? Like, watch basketball. What era of NBA are you talking about that you couldn't double or triple team somebody? did it all the time. Jordan got triple and quadruple teamed against the bad boys. That was the damn Jordan rules. There's the bird's nest.
Speaking of that, I just heard about that the other day. I heard that there were specific rules in the NBA where you could only like the guards had to guard the wings and the big man can only guard inside. Was that true?
No, I mean there was certain illegal defense rules, but it wasn't like that. It's not nearly as black and white as they like to tell you it was. Like, oh, they were restricted to do just this. There was guidelines and rules set up like that, but the defensive adjustments and the coaches found ways around it, especially for Michael Jordan, and adjusted. It's anyone that says that is just going off of shit that they've heard other people say. When you actually watch the games, all that's easily disproven.
But this was from a former NBA player himself.
Yeah, the rules were there. It was set up like that, but you could still get away with it. Now, I know that some players hate the defenses playing zone. So, like, you strictly had to play man to man is what he's talking about. But you could rotate off of that and double team. Now, the zone rules today are set up differently. And that's what killed me, is when the Mavs went zone and shut down LeBron and the Heat.
Well, see, I can't remember who it was, but this guy said he played with LeBron. And he said that's why LeBron in this era defense is more impressive when it happens than what it was back in the day because of all the illegal defensive calls.
No, disagree. You can't tell me any defense that you look at who these guys went up against. The Knicks and Pistons defenses were the best defenses of all time. Defensive rules don't make a defense. The defenders make the defense. The team defense makes the defense. And the Knicks and Bad Boys Pistons were as tough as it gets. So I don't know what he's talking about. And it's probably like Ryan Hollins or someone like that.
That was a white guy. I know that for sure.
Yeah, it might have been JJ Redick or maybe Richard Jefferson.
No, this dude was really tall.
Really tall?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's not as simple as that. So
what was the point of having such thing as illegal defense? Certain things you can and can't do.
It was to pretty much. I mean, it's always been to open up the game for offensive players. The NBA has always been concerned about a lack of scoring and a lack of trying to get more fans involved. It's always been about the fans and making a damn what a pass and making as much money as possible. So the NBA has always made rules and adjustments to try and open up the scoring, but in no way has defenses gotten tougher. In no way in hell. Like, if anything, it's gotten easier. And film will show you, I just posted a clip this weekend of the Cavs defense against the Warriors in the 2017 NBA Finals. And no defensive rotations and wide open driving lanes for dunks. And that's in the NBA Finals. That's not regular season. That's not All-Star game. That's NBA Finals. And anytime you're going to have wide open driving lanes for dunks like that, that's about as easy as it gets. I could fucking go lay it up on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, Magic throwing it one arm out here.
Yeah, he was wild, man. He's ridiculous.
He's the greatest Spartan of all time.
Oh yeah,
That's for
Magic Johnson definitely top 5 all time. I don't care who you have in your top 5. Magic's right there. Greatest point guard all time. Greatest passer all time. It wasn't just his passing. It was his ability to lead the offense, set the tone, set the pace. Um, his great passing, no looks, his fakes, his flash, also his ability to score, rebound, great rebounding point guard. His rebounding numbers for a guard are ridiculous. And then his team leadership. He was one of the best, team leaders of all time, and learned from Kareem.
Well, let me tell you this right now.
And Pat Riley, championship mindset. Go ahead.
Watching this one game, I have never seen a player in the NBA history since I've been watching run the floor like he does.
Yeah, with the ball, running the floor with the ball and finding open teammates.
Man, I wish I could have lived in every decade of all the sports greatness.
Yeah, me too. But then you think about it, and you're like, well, damn, I'd be like 70 or 80 right now, and I want to watch a lot more too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So like, pretty much, you just wish you could live forever. Because I would love to be able to watch the Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain rivalry, but I also want to watch 60, 70 more years of basketball. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, by then we might be on the sidelines.
might be, we will be. We'll be doing post game interviews with LeBron James Jr.
That'd be so. Is LeBron's son Bronny? Is that his real name or is it LeBron?
I think it's LeBron James Jr., but they call him Bronny.
Okay, I was confused.
Yeah. But don't take my word for it.
Have you seen what Scottie Pippen's son is doing over there at Vanderbilt?
A little bit.
He's a baller.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool as hell seeing all these kids come into the league. Um, I mean, I remember watching Del Curry. So to see Steph in the game now, to see Bronny, to see Ron Harper Jr., see Pippen's kid.
Man, that kid, Harper Jr., bro, he is a baller.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be a big fan of his. It's cool to see in the NFL too. Antoine Winfield Jr., Pat Surtain the second, all these cats. Kareem in the post. Go to work, Kareem. He can't stop you. Skyhook. Oh yeah, a rare miss. So like I remember playing against older guys in basketball when I was younger, and they would do the jump hook, the sky hook, and I was like laughing, like, that's a terrible shot, or like, that's so old school. Why do you shoot like that? Now that I'm older, I know why. It's because they grew up watching Kareem, and it's the most indefensible shot. Like, how are you supposed to block that? If you master the sky hook, no wonder these old people shoot it, because they saw Kareem be unstoppable with it and set the all-time scoring record with it.
Yeah. How late did Kareem play?
Until, like, I mean, I think he was like 40, 41, and I believe 1990 or 1989 was his last year.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, long career.
I think he gets past though. I think LeBron's going to be the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah. Yeah, 1969 to 1989.
Wow, 20 years.
Yep. Um, yeah, LeBron will pass him. I mean, LeBron's been in the league forever too. Since 2003, he's almost to 20 years himself. One more year,
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Came in at age 18. Was, dominant almost right away. Gotta give him credit for that.
Imagine if Kareem came in at the age of 18.
Yeah. Kareem had, I believe, 3 years dominating at UCLA.
Didn't he win all
Kind of,
championships there?
I believe he had like 3 championships there, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah, 3-time NCAA champion.
That is incredible.
Yeah. All right, what's the score here? One thing that I like. All right, there we go. Damn, it's a good game. 5 minutes to go. One thing I like about the modern era is they always have the score and the time.
Yeah.
It didn't used to always be like that. That's 107, 101. So 6-point Laker lead. Clock ticking down. Boston needs to do some work here. Otherwise, they're going to lose game one at home. Bird needs to take over. Going to Bird in the post. Double team comes. And miss. Good defense, good rebound. Kareem doubled. Good defense. Should be Celtics ball.
Look at the trust that Magic has though in his teammates.
Yeah.
Like he's had so many pull-up opportunities.
Yep. He was passed first for sure. That was his job. Set the offense up. He had score playmakers all around him. He's on the bench right now too, I believe. Or no, is that him? Yeah, that's him right. Good call.
Celtics are making this a game.
Yeah. It's such a heated rivalry. Oh, turnover. Magic running point.
But I mean, this game really doesn't help, you know, what we said about Larry Bird because he's kind of struggling.
Yeah. but it's a 7-game series. He's definitely going to get his. Let's see. Let's look at the stats here. I mean, hold up. You're saying Bird's struggling?
Yeah.
You want to know his stats for this game?
Well, I got him here.
All right, look them up real quick. Tell me what they are.
Give me 1 second.
All right. Good pass. Bird with an assist there.
I believe he had what, like 27 points?
I have. Let's make sure this is the right game. Game 1. Larry Bird, 24 points, 14 rebounds.
So it may not have been an offensive explosion, but he played good defense.
Yeah, I mean, a solid double-double. And a lot of points at the free throw line. He didn't shoot great, 7 for 17. In case you were wondering, Rick Mears won the Indy 500 that year, Dustin. Big for Indy 500 fan.
It's like people consider free throw points as cheap points.
They're great points. They're easy points. Why wouldn't you want to go to the free throw line? Shit, I'd score 30 points at the line all day. They all count, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot better if you score points without shooting free throws.
No. They all count. They all help your team win. I say the more trips you get to the free throw line, the better. The name of the game is to score more points than the opponent. So if you can get to the free throw line and have uncontested, you're a high percentage shooter and knock them down, that's great. Kobe, Allen Iverson, Jordan, even LeBron, those guys have the free throw line. That's the thing. If you can make them, especially in the clutch, those making and missing free throws at the end of the game decide the game a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Magic. Yeah, you're talking about that right there. That. Ooh, alley-oop? Nope. All right, come on, Boston. You got to capitalize right here. Cedric Maxwell. Bird, shoot that. It's all right. Good offensive board. Set it back up.
You got to hit that shot, though.
Yeah, I think there's a good look. Oh, come on, Bird. Bird is struggling today. But it happens. Oh, McHale.
He's the one who stepped up today.
Yeah. Oh, and they called a charge. I think that was a bad call.
I need to see it again.
Yeah. Oh, Magic with it. Oh, I think Magic got there, actually. That was a great play by Magic. That's huge because that would have been a 3-point play. Good pass, Kareem. McHale again. 2 blocks in a row. Celtics ball. Tough
You're right.
ass deep.
Having McHale, man.
Yeah.
That guy's nasty. Was he known as a defender?
Yeah. Barkley hated to go against him. He said he gave him a lot of problems defensively.
Oh, Barkley's a classic.
Yeah, I love Barkley. A lot of people try to clown him and say he's fat, but you can pull up highlights of Barkley just jamming on everybody and shooting the three ball.
Doesn't matter what size you are. If you're great at something, you're great at something.
Yeah. Well, he didn't used to be fat. He used to be in shape and an athlete. That's like saying, that's like looking at Jim Brown now and saying, "Oh, that dude, he was out of shape." Michael Cooper, another Michael Cooper athlete, man. He would translate to this era very well. Now it's down 7 at this point. That's not a good position to be in. Boston and LA's defense. I don't know about that call.
McHale was a pretty decent coach too.
Yeah. Solid coach. Great, good commentator. Go on the free throw line. 25-8. That's where the stats don't always tell the story, because you could look at the stats and say that Bird had a better game than McHale, but we just watched the game and we're praising McHale and saying Bird didn't have as great of a game, you know?
Yeah, and
That's why watching the game is so key.
but man, his hustle and effort's nice.
Yeah. Lakers getting to the loose ball. Lakers are about to seal this one.
The Lakers
Take
got
game 1. They know how important this is. Magic fired up.
So like,
Yeah. Go ahead.
the ball is still the same size, right? Like that 29 pounds or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know if they played with a smaller ball or not.
No, this isn't the WNBA.
No, I mean like back in the day. Clutch free throws.
Yep. Oh, good board, Bird.
That had to be a cool last name to have. Bird.
Yeah. When his first game in Boston, when they announced his name, they set a bird free in the Boston Garden. So it was like this white dove flying around the stadium.
Oh hell yeah. Is he
But he
related
had
to Bird?
huh?
Is he related to Sue Bird?
No,
Oh, I didn't know if they were related or not.
not all birds come from the same flock. 115, 107.
uh,
You
Boston.
got
Oh,
2 seconds, so this game's about a wrap. It's a big win for the Lakers. Go into Boston and get a big game 1 win. Set the tone for the series.
that's probably a hostile environment too.
Oh yeah, in Boston. There's probably some not so nice things being yelled at the Lakers right now.
See, that's a question that I would have always asked. Like when you almost nailed that interview with Magic,
Yeah,
I would have loved to have said, "Man, what is the most craziest place that you've ever played in out? Playing
yep.
teams, Celtics, and
What was it
Chicago.
like? What was it like playing in the finals in the Boston Garden? That atmosphere.
You are looking live."
We'll
That's what Brett Musburger's famous for.
get that Magic interview one of these days.
Oh yeah,
It's Kareem.
Kareem's so tall it ain't even right. Look at that.
Damn, 32, 8, and 6.
His head is even with the ceiling right now.
Yeah, he's gonna hit his head. So yeah, we'll keep these coming out. Keep doing rewatches. We'll do this whole series. We'll do Celtics Bulls. Celtics Pistons is a really good one. We're gonna have to do that. We'll have to do 94 Knicks Rockets as well. That's Akeem's best year.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm trying to learn more and more about the history of the NBA.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't block this one. Hopefully no issues there, but we'll get this one out. I'll get the wrestling ones out too. I'll just have to put pictures. And if the March Madness one doesn't come out, then I'll put pictures with that too. We'll get these episodes out regardless. I just like doing the highlights with them, and the actual game film.
Yeah, it gives our followers something to watch instead of hearing our voice all the time.
Yeah. But sounds good. Well, appreciate the support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Good content, Dustin.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you.
Yep. And we'll keep these episodes coming out. Appreciate you guys. And peace out.